Hi, Massive D here. This is going to be a 3-part video. In part 1, I will give you a short summary of what exactly happened last night in the Salomé's event, and what was revealed to be the Galactic Conspiracy. In part 2, we will look at some very strange things and discrepancies that accidentally unraveled themselves during the course of the event. And in part 3, I will give you my own personal opinion on what I think about the whole event. Part 1. The event started on 6 PM game time and lasted for roughly 2 hours before the climax. Salomé's Imperial Clipper started its journey in a system called 46 Eridani. Escorted by 3 other Imperial Clippers, they made their way towards what was later revealed to be the final destination, a system called George. During the event, she was shadowed by hundreds of players, trying and ultimately failing to join in the same systems where she was in. Very soon, it became clear that joining the same instance as her was nearly impossible, as with about 500 people watching my stream live, only one person has reported that he was actually able to see Salomé's ship in his instance. At a point in the journey, Salomé's ship was very oddly abandoned by 2 of her guardians, as they raced ahead and successfully delivered the secret data about the Galactic Conspiracy that we all were eager to hear, while Salomé herself stayed behind for some reason with the 3rd guardian, seemingly not suspecting foul play, and was then quote-unquote backstabbed by the said guardian and killed, whom was then revealed to be none other than Harry Potter of the SDC griefer variety, at which point Salomé was pronounced dead on Twitter by Drew Wagar himself, which was followed by a very odd general consensus that literally no one saw that coming? Even though people were watching Harry's stream and knew days before that SDC made a statement in which they claimed that they're going to kill Salomé, but nobody's seen it coming. Okay, remember the things I just said, because we will come back to them in part 2 and 3 of this video, but for now, let's check out what the Galactic Conspiracy is. And the big reveal is that apparently, an organization called INRA is alive and kicking, influencing all the powers in the galaxy. The Federation and Imperials are actually working together, and their arming themselves for war is seemingly just a red flag, with the main objective to build more weapons. They know something big is coming, and started Project Dynasty, which was meant to seed worlds at the edges of the galaxy, and then killing the crew so nobody could hear about it. Rebecca worked for them until she grew a conscience, after which she was brainwashed. You can ultimately fly to George and check out the listening posts that are scattered in the system to get the full story yourself. WTF are INRA, you may ask? Well, according to Wiki, the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm was a Federation and Empire cooperative. Its primary purpose was to develop technologies to defeat the Thargoids. Many pieces of the FEU fiction incorporate elements of the INRA into their storylines. Apparently, they played a very large role in the war against Thargoids, so let's read about it a little bit more. As the war against the Thargoids continued, it developed from a cutting-edge science organization to the vanguard of humanity's struggle against the alien aggressors. Elite pilots were recruited from across human space and given the most advanced ships and technologies to help fend off the enemy. In the end, however, it was INRA's research routes that won the war. A mycoid, or mycoid, I'm not really sure how this is pronounced, virus was developed and delivered to the Thargoids' homeworlds by a courageous INRA pilot. The virus destroyed the Thargoids' organic hyperdrives, halting them in their tracks and excluding them from hyperspace travel. The scattered pockets of Thargoids' infestation were systematically eliminated. With the end of the Thargoid War, INRA was officially disbanded, its veterans spreading to the corners of the galaxy to continue to gather fame as elite pilots, or to degenerate and live off telling the tall tales in dingy bars. All was not as it seemed, however. INRA was still active, keeping an eye on human exploration of space. It knew that humanity should never explore out to where the Thargoids' homeworld was, for fear of another war. Nor should humanity discover the despicable, virtually genocidal way that INRA had won the war. Their silent vigil was without problem until the 3250s, when McTurner and Meredith Argent, owners of the AAAI shipyards in Alioth, decided to find out exactly what happened to the Thargoid. Together, they designed and built a ship, far beyond anything ever constructed in civilian shipyards. This ship had the ability to travel to the Thargoid's homeworld. When the Turner's quest left human space, INRA hunted it down and destroyed it, killing McTurner. Undeterred, the Argent's quest took off with an unknown pilot and managed to discover the alien homeworld and cure their diseased hyperdrives, allowing peaceful contacts between the two species. Inner continues to watch events in human space, operating in the dark, always beyond the knowledge of both civilians and standard military. Many stories are tied to Inra that cannot ever be verified without being killed or joining their ranks. Such rumors include that they are based at the mythical planet of Raxla. So the big reveal was basically the introduction to Elite Dangerous of what people knew already? Okay. We'll come back to this later, but let us move on to the part 2 of the video for now. Due to my busy schedule last week, I wasn't even sure that I would be able to participate in the event. I was sort of sneaking away from my duties for about an hour per day to prepare the build that I wanted to take out to the event. And eventually, on the day of the event, I made it and ended up at Witchhead Science Facility on time and ready. However, having to haste my preparations, I totally forgot to bring a wake scanner. The event was about to begin, and I had no time to travel back and equip one. So instead, I decided that since I already had at the time quite a few viewers on my stream, I would ask them for assistance. For example, to relay me the information regarding the event from other streams, etc. Which not only turned out to be greatly successful in keeping us all updated live on what exactly was happening, but also, as a side effect, help us triangulate on some very interesting happenings during the event. I urge you to take a mental note of the following, because this will be important at the end of the video, and will heavily influence my final thoughts about the event. Now, the discrepancy number 1, the choosing of SDC Group and Harry Potter to be Salomé's guardians. Going into the event, I wasn't actually aware of this fact, given that I had so little time to prepare, not to mention read full details on forums and Reddit, etc. But I can tell you as a fact that anyone who knows SDC and Harry Potter knew exactly how this was gonna end. I was even told, and I think I even mentioned it on one of my previous DBX streams previously, that SDC made statements in which they claimed that they will be trying to kill Salomé. I can assure you that there isn't a single player out there who knew SDC and Harry Potter that did not expect the outcome of this event. And the narrative, which I've seen floating around, stating that literally no one could have seen it coming, is not only laughable, but rather insulting. Discrepancy number 2. People who actually were capable combat players and wanted to help protect Salomé were apparently rejected. I received messages with reports stating that they were kicked from the event organizer's Discord channel, with the explanation that they simply cannot be trusted, while the most notorious griefers in the game were given the task to protect probably one of the most important lore-centric characters in the entire game? Okay. Discrepancy number 3. The game did not have a system to support this event. The so-called stand with or against Salome buttons seemingly did nothing. Literally hundreds of players were wandering the inhabited space aimlessly. The whole intended narrative of players setting up barricades and others trying to disperse to set barricades simply did not work, as players were not only not aware of other players' intentions, nor whom should they attack, but seemingly they weren't even trying to do so, because everyone just wanted to get into the same instance as Salome and failed to do so over and over. Discrepancy number 4. A few people watching different streams reported Salome to be at different amounts of HP. Now this is very interesting, as at one point someone said she was at 60% whole, then 50% whole. At one point, Salomé seemingly even crashed from the game and came back sometime later. And sometime after, she was reported to be at 90% whole. Do however take this one with a grain of salt, because it is entirely possible that people on my stream were just trolling and reporting fake news. However, people whom I personally trust also seem to agree that her HP lacked consistency at some points. Discrepancy number 5. During my stream, about an hour before Salomé's ultimate demise, people actually reported and verified that the outcome has been leaked on Reddit. The same messages that you are now able to get from listening posts in Theorge became available way before Salomé's death, and was discovered by a commander who has posted his findings in the following link. I will also add this link in the video description, so you can go and check it out for yourself. Now, this leak ultimately means that no matter what was gonna happen, Salomé's fate was seemingly predefined, which makes it even more concerning, given the fact that there was a point where Salomé's guardians abandoned her and left her alone with Harry Potter, seemingly and very conveniently letting the events foretold in the leak come to pass. Well, now at least we know why Drew's book is called Premonitions. So this is the end of chapter 2. I am presenting these strange happenings to you as they are, without my commentary on purpose, because I do not wish to force a perspective on you, and instead want everyone to go over what happened yesterday, investigate for yourselves, and come to your own conclusions. However, in the next and final part of this video, I will go over the whole event once more, expressing my own personal and subjective opinion, expressing what I took away from all of this, and what is my views towards the events that took place yesterday, including the big reveal. Part 3. So what do I think about all this? What do I think about the decision to whitelist Harry Potter as a guardian, even after SDC stated that they will be hunting to kill Salomé? Yeah, what do I think about whitelisting people as guardians, who literally crash charity streams intended to raise money for cancer patients, kill hosts, and then laugh to their faces, to the point where developers are forced to release statements saying that griefing charity streams is not okay, you guys. Check this out. Support update, reiteration of player harassment rules. Hi everyone, in light of recent issues relating to the way a small collective of players have been approaching and targeting specific private groups and other community events such as charity live streams, we wanted to reinforce an important part of the existing rules regarding in-game harassment that every player agrees to when creating their account. Who could have possibly predicted that these model citizens would be up to no good? Literally no one could have ever seen that coming. You know how these guys have tormented the community for years, forcing tens of thousands of players out of open into closed communities like Mobius, calling people cucks who need to get good? Well, these gentlemen are now forever immortalized as protagonists in Drew Wagar's novel, Elite Dangerous Premonitions, soon to be available in a bookstore near you. Go get 'em, boys. Buy 2 and you will get a badge that says I'm proud to be a cuck. Okay, moving on. What do I think that good people who actually wanted to protect Salomé were actually ejected out of the event Discord channel and deemed untrustworthy? And the fact that the quote-unquote event buttons literally did nothing, and the fact that the ending leaked while Salomé was still alive, well, not only do I think that the event was scripted, but it was also blatantly plagiarized. I bet that our man Drew Wagar read the book called Empires of Eve, in particular an epic about a certain famous battle in the Eve universe, which was ultimately decided by a betrayal when one of the clan's main banker defected at the last minute, running away with trillions of credits and sealing his clan's fate. Deeply inspired by this epic, Drew realized that his book lacks nuance. And what is the best way to get some? Well, if I was Drew, I would probably organize an event, invite thousands of people to participate, promising that their choices matter and that the fate of the galaxy rests in their hands, even though everyone could tell immediately that the game engine is not even capable of supporting such event, hence the new event buttons doing nothing, and the majority of the players not even being able to join the same instance as Salomé herself, not to mention being able to interact with her. And nothing else really spells nuance like one of the major characters in a 30-year-old story dying live with thousands of witnesses, doesn't it? The only thing left to do is to make sure that the things go exactly as scripted in the book. Salomé needs to stay alive long enough to be entertaining, the Galactic Conspiracy needs to be revealed, so I could start working on the sequel, obviously, and when players are at the edge of their seats, one of the good guys has just defected, just like in that other book. The lore character is dead. Literally, no one would ever see it coming. Mwah! That is some good nuance right there. Now, the last thing to do is to recruit clans of known scumbags. They want fame anyway, so the negotiations won't be long, since they have powerful ships and know how to fight. I personally seen them in the cancer charity stream after all. I know how lethal they are. They will be able to keep the main ship alive as long as it is needed for the script to unravel, especially since the event function does nothing, and not that many players will be able to join the instance anyway, meaning that things should go smooth as butter. After all is said and done, the community will be preoccupied raging against unknown rage-generating clans, who are used to it anyway, and will simply bask in their newfound glory, antagonizing the community even further, and thus distracting them from the fact of how bogus the event was. That is a perfect crime, Drew. I am thoroughly impressed. You would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for us meddling idiots. Okay, let's play devil's advocates here for a second. Let us pretend that I'm rocking back and forth somewhere in the corner in my house, completely covered in tin foil, that the entirety of the event went down legitimately and all. I have a question for the power play community regarding the unveiled Galactic Conspiracy. So, you know how you spent the last 3 years completing orders for your chosen factions, like killing enemy agents, taking over territories, all that good power play stuff. And now, since we just learned that the Empire and the Federation were best buddies all along, doesn't that mean that literally none of the choices that you ever made in this game and none of the things that you did mattered whatsoever, leaving you somewhere in the spectrum between pawns and galactic cucks? Why did you do it, Drew? Why did you make all of us cucks?